Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. How's it going? Hey, Sapphire. Streak saved. Nicely done. Yeah, these new Twitch watch streaks are interesting. I don't know the extent to which I care about them, but yeah, there's one stream I watch almost every weekday morning. I think I lost my streak finally today. I didn't watch them. Rip. It's interesting. We'll see how that helps engagement. How's everyone doing today? We're back. We're back at work on our regular day-to-day stuff. We're mainly just kind of futzing with the auto tiler here. How am I doing? I'm doing okay. I am tired. Having a harder and harder time waking up early in the morning for work. As the days get shorter, I'm hoping the end of daylight savings time gives me a little jolt. Makes it a little easier to wake up early. We'll see. All right, so we did a little bit. Back to the gray squares and outlines, exactly. That's our bread and butter here. Someday we'll move on from this. Kind of incredible how, we'll make our little games, our little jam games in 72 hours, and I've logged hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours on this game, and all we have are, our little gray squares. So it's interesting how different it is when you try to do something quote-unquote properly, Yeah, we got a bunch of weird errors with the overlay. So mainly we're fixing the overlay. We fixed this yesterday, the Z face. So the Z face is rendering correctly for the overlays now, which is good. Except for this, whatever's going on here. I actually think this is the wall piece below. I'm not sure. I don't understand how we could have this behavior on this side, but not this side. I guess I should double check. I think it's these side pieces are rendering through, even though they shouldn't. Oh, we got like weird, spooky cinematic music going. I'm gonna fix that. Yeah, I fiddled with it a bit yesterday. I've had a hard time actually getting real productive work done. The delayed exhaustion was very real yesterday. I think it's a little better today, but I've been trying to sleep in and catch up on stuff. So did I do anything here that's just very obviously wrong? Yep, here's one. Here's something. This should be plus. That's probably what was causing that. Hey, Nix. How's it going? All right. Well, that didn't do anything. Curious. The fact that it did literally nothing is a little concerning, but... It's only affecting us when we're at the very edge. I don't think we'll be able to get a solid answer on that until we start adjusting some of the other sides. Minus x minus y plus y. Weird how that had zero effect on anything. Oh, Nix, you're back from the hospital. You're gonna have some surgery. Hopefully, I think fix some of that stuff. That's really great. It's really great to hear. I know some of that stuff can move very slowly and kind of leave you in limbo for a long time. Sapphire, did you end up pulling an all-nighter on the last day of the jam, or were you able to keep from doing that? No, I definitely did that. We definitely did that. And I'm usually fine while I'm doing that, but as soon as I'm done, so like the week after, I'm just like kind of messed up. But I'm really happy with how the jam turned out, so I have no regrets from that. Oh, you're starting on your cyborg enhancements next? Nice. Yeah, your stats are gonna go up for sure. You finally become what you've always wanted to be, a RimWorld character. You're not going to be able to work for the rest of the year. That's kind of rough, but hey, you can work on that new game idea. All right. I don't understand what's going on here, so I'm just going to ignore this for now. I think I know what the problem is, and I think it's somewhere else, so I think I'm going to just approach it that way. Work on the somewhere else. Nick's, your stats are terrible. No passion. I don't believe that. I'm passionate about doing nothing, so I feel like when I do nothing, my skill for doing nothing should go up faster. I should easily be a regional master at doing nothing by now. All right, so let's keep working on these. The horizontal lines are a little different because there is no overlap, so the rules for them are a lot different. And so we have to figure that out. Oh yeah, I was going to change the music. We're still playing our weird intro cinematic music. Sad thing is you'll mostly be bedridden, or at least without your main arm. Yeah, that's rough. While you should start writing macros so you can control your computer from your opposite arm. Maybe get one of those eye trackers. Your laziness stat is a 20, double passioned. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's start just fiddling with stuff and see what happens. All right, so the negative X line. It doesn't need to be an edge there. Great. And the mask contains I think we want, and mask contains this. If we're contained and the opposite is not contained, I think we need to do both of these things. Let's say, and mask dot contains whole key. So if we're contained and the other one is not contained, or no, if they're both contained, we can skip. I don't think this is right, but we're going to try it. I have a hard time visualizing in my head exactly what the rules should be. I end up doing a lot of experimentation. Next, on the good side, you have a bunch of books that you have to go through, so definitely won't be bored. Long time coming. You have to read the Lord of the Rings books, The Hobbit 2. Oh yeah, I've never read those. I think I would read really dense history books. I would read, if I was in that position, I think I would read Thucydides and Caesar and Gaul and stuff like that. Maybe Xenophon's Hellenica. Big books that are often referenced, but are kind of hard to read on your own. Okay, this had 0 impact on the behavior, which is curious. Oh, it worked here. Oh, because I've only affected... Wait. Okay, curious, curious. So we skip this outline. We want to skip this outline if we don't normally need the outline. And, well, this and mask contains thing is a little misleading, I think. Because we actually don't want to we don't want to include the outline. Let me see how I wrote the other thing. Yeah, I think this week is going to be a very slow ramp up back to our normal behavior. Okay, so I have a big mask contains. Oh, so I have two branches of like, if... They're not really branches, but they might as well be. So I think if the mask contains us at all, so if we're contained and they're not contained, or we're not contained. Okay, yeah, I think this is okay. So we can say, we can go back up here. Can't believe you were literally 5 minutes late for yesterday's stream. I mean, you were 5 minutes late for the end of the stream. we cut it short yesterday. I was really not getting anything productive done. So you didn't miss much. So we can say this and this. Well, we could do it this way. We could say, and if the mask contains this, and it doesn't contain this, say this. We can say, or we aren't contained. Yeah, because if we're not contained, we wouldn't draw this anyway, under any circumstance. So that's fine to end like that. This says it has no effect on the behavior, but I'm gonna leave the parentheses in because I want the grouping to be explicit. Because otherwise I change the behavior and I forget what grouping was explicit or not. Nick's reading is great. You forgot how much you love the book you're reading now. Nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. We talked about it yesterday. I'm like a nonfiction reader. So for me, there's a lot of bandwidth involved in reading something, especially something new. Usually takes me multiple attempts to start to get a grasp of whatever it is. Okay, okay, we're starting to get there. Oh, except this is wrong. Oh, actually, yeah, this is fine. Let's see what happens if I do this. Okay, okay. Okay. I think we're starting to figure it out. I think this is the correct behavior. The up down I'm going to be a little confused about, I think. Oh yeah, I wanted to change the pattern I use for this. Be like that. It's so freeing to have gotten rid of the indentation lines. They were so annoying to me. I found myself changing my ordering of my code just to make the indentation lines look pleasing. I was like, that's not good. What's this? What's this? Oh, yeah, indentation change. Hey, Rihanna Journey. How's it going? Happy Thursday. Yeah, how dare you miss the stream? Switch my coaster. This coaster is too loud. All right, so for the verticals, what do we say? I think we can say the same thing. Generally. This whole key plus vector3i.z, this feels deeply wrong. Like, shouldn't we be looking at, like, the bulk? So shouldn't this be like... Okay, let's see about this. Oh, does the mask not have a... Oh, yeah, it doesn't. Doesn't. Right. That should be fine. Minus, nothing minus here. Okay, we can get rid of that part. Can we get rid of this whole thing? Yeah, we can get rid of that whole thing. Random journey. Today has been so hard to keep your attention focused on anything. Yeah, that's been me this week for sure. That's really funny, Rhiannon. Okay, this had zero effect on anything. Fascinating. Oh, I think I understand. So why does this not work? Oh, that should be an or, not an and. I think I have to have the same thing here. All right, is this good? Okay, that's close. Oh, the corners. Oh, the corners. I haven't had to think about a corner yet. All right, we're getting closer. I don't know how I feel about this whole slight outline when you're on the edge. I think it's kind of neat, but you shouldn't be able to select outside of a built area. So this is fine, but if I click, this is less fine. I need to control that somehow. I see the problem with doing that though. I do see the problem with that. All right, so corners. So we're interested in the -x, -y corner. Or no, the -x, +y corner. It's this thing that's causing us problems. I think we need the same or not mask dot contains. Just to get rid of that. Our corner behavior for the auto tiler is very rudimentary. It's like the newest thing, and I have not thought it through very clearly. Okay, I think we're getting there. I'm still concerned about whatever's going on up here. I don't understand why it would only affect one side, but let's fix these first because I'm not convinced that it's I think it might be those, even though those shouldn't be drawing. A little concerning that we're possibly unnecessarily drawing these. I should say I should have a thing that's like I'm actually not sure what I should do with default tiles. We don't want to send the information over. I have to look at how we were defending against that before. I'm just going to copy over this behavior. I think it's close. Flip the axes for this one. Should be all we need to do for that part. And then we can add the same thing here. Or not mask contains whole key.xyz. All right, let's try this. Sapphire, you're gonna lurk? No worries. Take it easy. Thanks for tuning in. Congrats on, you know, saving the streak. All right, so this isn't what I thought it was. It really is. There's an error with the Z layer overlay, and I don't understand. It's only affecting... It's actually unclear what it's affecting. It's unclear exactly what it's affecting, but it's not affecting this side, so I feel like if I compare the two sides, I should be able to find the differentiation between the two behaviors. And just get rid of that. Whatever the difference is. All right, take it easy. As far as I can tell, these are all the same, which is concerning. I think the ones we're interested in is this one maybe, and this one. But again, I'm not totally sure. I guess we should make sure this block is the same as this block, because this block currently works. They look identical to me. There's some difference here somewhere. Has something to do with when we're at the edge, when we're at the negative x edge. Let me look at the tile map. Make sure I'm doing this correctly. Hey Arneo, how's it going? Arneo, people bragging about their songs here. You wrote a song called A Song for the Camels of Old. When you were like 17. You can't remember how it goes. You wish you could find the lyrics you wrote down. That's funny. Yeah, Bionic Woman's a pretty good tile. Alright, so negative x, or x plus 1 is the negative x boundary. X plus 2 is the positive x boundary. Y plus 1 is the negative y boundary. Y plus 2 is the positive y boundary. Yep. Okay, I am aware of that. Let's just make sure that I didn't mess up the other tile set. It's very possible that we're like telling it to render correctly, but the thing is recorded wrong in here. No, this looks right. Okay, the hunt continues. All right, where's the difference? Where's Waldo here? plus 1, x plus 2, y plus 1, y plus 2, minus y plus y. Not, okay, all the knots are in place. All the ors and ands are in place. Is there like a parentheses I'm missing somewhere? No. Doesn't appear so. It's possible there's a difference down here. Oh, not has negative a. Oh, I see exactly the problem. I copied the behavior. I copied these over and I didn't change this. I'm a fool. Well, that explains why there's weird behavior. It doesn't exactly explain the precise behavior we're seeing, but now I'm worried I'm doing this elsewhere too. Okay, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. How's it going, Arneo? All right. Okay, weird edge problem gone. All right, the decks are rendering correctly, it looks like. Mostly. Now we got to do the bulks because I don't think the bulks are correct. Yep. They're very much not. So we got to do the same thing for them. Starting off. It'll be great when this is done. We'll have none of those overlapping problems we were having before. Rhiannon, you only dabble. You've been playing guitar for over 20 years now. Your skill level plateaued like 15 years ago. Almost every song you've ever written is not serious. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I can play some stringed instruments. I haven't done it seriously in like 20 years, almost. So, yeah. My skill plateaued even before years did. I think one of the things that hurt my growth the most is I learned along with an old friend of mine who was like just a natural talent at it. And it's so demotivating when you're trying to learn alongside someone who's just a natural talent. It makes it seem like everything comes to you with such difficulty, it's not worth it. This other person just like breathes it. They do it like an autonomous activity, like, or an autonomic activity or whatever. They can just do it with great skill and no effort. And it's like, well, I'll never be that good, so why even try, right? I found my own thing though. And I do still enjoy playing sometimes when I have the time, which is very rare. But I've never been a songwriter, really. I like making little ditties, like little instrumental ditties, but I also haven't done that in like almost 20 years. Probably. More like 15, maybe. All right. So let's do the Z again first because that's easy. And in fact, I could probably copy over what we have. Let's start with that. That seems like the easiest thing to do. Is there a reason why we can't just do that straight up? I don't think so. I think we can start like that. Take this, yoink this over. Replace this. see what that does for us here. I don't think it's going to look right at all. But we'll be on our way. Okay, no, it's helping. It's helping. The rules, the behavioral rules are very similar. Oh, neat. Okay. Cool. Combinations are working pretty well. Yeah, let's just copy over the behavior. This might be an easy win. I say easy win. We struggled with it all day yesterday. But this part might be an easy win. Although there is this additional behavior, which I'm not totally sure about. Mass contains plus or not hulls dot contains key. I need to be careful. I need to keep that behavior. I need to figure out how to patch that on. Because I think that additional line is pretty crucial. I get pretty sick of these songs that have weird like spoken word samples in them. I know that was such a popular thing to do for a long time. I think it's weird. I know I've complained about it a lot. Yeah. All right, so and mass contains this. Yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know about this line. I don't know where to incorporate this. I think I will comment it out and just keep an eye on it. I'll move it above this part though. And we'll comment it out because I don't know how to incorporate this yet. But I know it solves a specific problem, so it's like we'll have to do it eventually. I'll have to just rediscover what that is. And no, this couldn't be solved with commenting. Random Journey, that's where your motivation left you. You played a lot from like 13 to 18. You ended up hanging out with a lot of musicians who were a lot better. Yeah. It's hard to stay motivated nowadays when you're presented and compared to just like the global, like your global competition or whatever, or even just like more regionally. I've heard people talk about it in interesting ways, which is like it used to be you only ever really compared yourself to like a pretty small local group of people. So it was like pretty easy to like stay motivated and like feel like you were, you know, a contender or whatever, because you only compared yourself against like locally who you saw. But now in this global society or whatever, if you're coming up and you're like trying to decide if you want to do this thing, you're competing against the entire globe. like the point of comparison is everyone else doing the thing globally. And so it's like the bar for excellence or even just, you know, mediocrity has been moved so high that I feel like it's hard to stay motivated to do something because you might see someone on like TikTok or whatever who does something so perfectly and effortlessly. It's like, well, why would I ever want to? Why should I put effort into that to just be nowhere close to them? I think it's hard. I think it's hard nowadays. You're competing against so many for so few spots, you know, relatively. It's tough. It's definitely tough. And that's true whether you're talking about art or games or programming or playing the guitar. Everyone's competing on a global stage now. Nix, your motivation comes from playing Rocksmith. It gamifies the learning part a lot. I've heard that. Is that the like program where you can like plug in an actual guitar into your computer, like with just like an audio jack or something, and it will like teach you how to play? It's like Rock Band but with like an actual guitar. Pretty cool. Now you have to compare your game dev skills against the likes of Dave. You can't compete. That is the silliest thing. But yeah, there's no, and no one cares. I mean, if you bring it back to games, it's like, if someone's choosing between playing, you know, Dave the Diver or some other indie game, I say other indie game, not implying that Dave the Diver is indie. That's controversial. I don't think it is. Because Dave the Diver was made by Nexon, right? It was made by a subsidiary of Nexon. And Nexon is huge, huge company. And they present this indie game out there, right? And so you're competing against this as a solo indie dev, because you're also competing for people's time against, you know, everything. In the attention economy, there is no deference for the context of you creating stuff. People just spend their time one way or the other. So you're competing against everyone. You're competing against Netflix. You're competing against TikTok. You're competing against, you know, TV. In every other game, if someone is like, I could play Skyrim, or I could play the latest game by Dave. It's like, this is why no one ever unseats Fortnite or Terraria or whatever. Because you'll come out with a new game and people will be like, it's like Terraria but worse. And it's like, they've been adding content to Terraria for 15 years. Like, everything is worse than Terraria. Like, oh, Rocksmith, you lost the licensing issues for that game? Yeah, I bet there are. Do I have to flip any of this? I don't think so. I think this should just work, except for this edge case that I introduced here that I don't understand what it solves. And we'll have to just relearn what edge case this addresses. Nix, you have to get a USB to jack special adapter and play through that. That makes more sense. I was like, how do they interpret the audio jack signal? But it makes sense that they convert it to USB, I guess. You want to try it out? Highly advise you also pick up a cheap wireless jack thingy. Use it that way. The cable is prone to breaking. The wireless thingamajig, the cable doesn't have to move too much. It doesn't break. You won't be like 50. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'm sure the wireless stuff is plenty responsive in this context. That's cool. That's pretty cool. All right. Okay, so this is busted. Oh, that's because the bulk has different behavior than the deck. Right. Ooh, neat. I don't know if I love that. Some of this edge case stuff. I feel like I should... I should make some changes. Like, if you look at like this, we're selecting the very edge of something like this. I feel like this wall should be lit up if we're doing that. Maybe not. Maybe, though. I have to decide how I want that to work. Kind of neat. Okay, we gotta fix this stuff, though. So... That's the positive Y. What about if I did this? And then I selected like here. And what if I did this? Okay, so that still isn't happening, which is frustrating. What if I selected across both? Okay, that works at least. That's good. That's good. So it's this positive Y stuff for the bulk X and Y. And positive Y, I mean positive Z. So it's the positive Z stuff for bulk X and bulk Y. Okay. Yeah, we can refine that. That's easy. Pick one of these. Positive Y. So it's this one, actually. I hope it's not this behavior here. What does this express? This or not contains key. Dec Z. Plus vector. I think I understand that. I actually don't know if we still want that behavior, but I understand, I think, what that's accomplishing. Arneo, once you got good enough to enjoy listening to your guitar playing, your learning plateaued as well. You're not going to learn past the campfire level. You tried to get into singing to compensate. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think combining, doing things doing multiple things like that can be fun. That can really elevate your playing. Rhiannon Journey, either the wall should be lit up or the outline should be on the floor and not the ceiling. Yeah. I can see a problem. I can see an easy exception for how to nullify that. For how to nullify the like extra little line that's being rendered on top. I don't want you to think that you're selecting the wall when you're selecting the edge of the wall, so I think that's more likely what I do rather than light up the wall because the selection next to it has been made. I don't want to do that exactly, I don't think. It could be neat, though. It could be neat. Like, if you're selecting, like, a thing that's attached to the wall that technically belongs to the tile in front of it, but it's attached to the wall, it could be neat when you select it. It highlights the wall behind it. I could see the argument for that. I could see that. Yeah. I could see why we might want to do that. We have to keep in mind that that selection overlay is not going to stay there when you're playing the game. It's just like a thing to cover it, and then it won't appear. That's like an editor only like pass, just so that if you're like selecting a region and to copy and paste, you can see the region that you've selected. So in that sense, it's probably good to not highlight the wall because I don't want to give you the impression that you're going to copy the wall because you aren't, because you're not selecting that whole thing. So I don't know. I have to weigh those two things. Like what looks cooler when you're playing versus like what makes more sense when you're editing. Because I feel like most people are never going to edit anything in the game, right? Like modding tools are going to be used by what? Like 5% of the player base, something like that? I don't even know for a typical game what the modder community ratio is like. But the people that do mod are extremely passionate. Those are like your most engaged players. So, I don't know. Tough to weigh those up. Yeah, we'll have to see. They are, and they keep other people coming back. Yeah, that's crucial. So I think optimizing for their user experience is pretty valid. I don't really want to write yet another... Like, I don't want a variation of this behavior that only applies to the editor state, but I could totally do something like that too. Where, like, the highlighting behaviors change when you're in editor mode. I might do that a little bit, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't like that an additional hover outline appears when you're hovering over a selected area. I almost kind of want to get rid of the outline if you're hovering over an already selected area, so that you get that, like, additional layering of, like, semi-transparency without the hard outline. I kind of want to do stuff like that. And that's getting pretty, like, nitpicky. But again, I want this feature to be done. When we put this feature down, it's because we're done with it. And we don't have to touch it again for a long time. That's the idea. That's the idea. Somehow we've gotten from buying Rocksmith songs to buying Train DLCs on Steam. Yeah, the licensing is tough. The licensing is tough, for sure. Yeah, Rocksmith should only offer a subscription. That should be like it should be like the base game includes like public domain songs, and then you can buy a subscription to get like whatever is currently under the license. You shouldn't have to buy DLC for something like Rocksmith. That's insane. I understand that's the only way their licensing model probably works, because the license holders want money for, you know, the stuff you get that's theirs, and it's like Xbox Game Pass has a hard time calculating how much to pay out their license holders. I can only imagine Rocksmith would be very similar. But yeah, Nix, we all know you celebrate Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arneo, you mean in some ways games can be the capitalist profit dream? You sell the same digital, infinitely copyable thing over and over with almost no head or material cost? It's like, tell me you're Nintendo without telling me you're Nintendo, right? They can sell you the same game for $70 every time they release a new platform. They can sell you. I mean, they're gonna sell everyone Breath of the Wild again for $70. Oh my lord, Starlight Lacuna. Raid alert, everyone. Hide the code. How's it going? Your Walker X, Starlight Lacuna, Stargate Blue. What's up, everyone? How's it going? Happy Thursday. How was the stream? Oh, that's cool looking. Yeah, this is like the style guide piece for our game, which is an FTL-like in isometric 2D, or, you know, sort of isometric 2D. If you want to be precise, it's dimetric. How's it going? We're working on our auto tiler as we always did. We did a big game jam. I say big. We did a game jam last weekend. We're pretty wiped out from it still. I'm pretty proud of what we did, but we're trying to get back into the day-to-day right now. We're fiddling with our auto tiler rules, trying to work on refining. We've got some like misbehavior between the overlays, which are like the selection overlays and stuff, and like the underlying texture stuff. So I'm addressing things like duplicated lines like this and like little erroneous extra line work like this, which I don't think we want. It's kind of neat, but I need to find an exception for that too. But yeah, how are you doing? Stream was good. You were modeling a smart board to use in your stream environment. Ooh, cool. I wish I spent time on improving my stream setup more. I do very little. I'm on the hook for some new emotes. We always get new emotes whenever I do a jam game. I'm not quite sure which ones I want to do. But yeah, welcome in, Raiders. Thanks for hanging out. Starlight, thanks for the raid. We got ads coming in, so if you got to dip out, I understand. Let me give you the shout out. Obligatory shout out. Starlight, you got to raid and run. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Thanks for the lurk. I really appreciate that. You know that one for the farmer falling over? That would probably be pretty good. I don't know if I can render that at like 14 by 14 pixels or whatever, but I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. I have a screenshot recorder tool now, but you know what I don't have is a GIF recorder. Like a pixelized GIF recorder. I should write something like that. It takes like a bunch of screenshots in like rapid succession or something. Like advances in animation while doing it. Should come up with something like that. Yeah, the falling over is pretty good. Like, maybe it's them falling over and over. Like, they keep getting run over by, like, a skeleton or something, and it's just that on loop. That would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. Because that's the funniest thing that happens to people when they get overwhelmed in that game, is they get stun locked by, like, the monsters. All right, we're into ads. Hold on to your ads, people. All right, so we need to improve the... I don't remember the order. Let's check the order real quick. Bottom is actually +1. Oh, fascinating. Okay. So it's this. So we don't have enough behavior here. There's not enough determining this. I should look at how the deck... Well, the deck already works like this, and for some reason it's sufficient. Oh, because this one needs a plus. I understand. I understand the difference. I understand. Yeah, we actually have to flip 2 things here. So we can actually remove this. But here we need to add this, I think. Actually, the thing that I just removed is what we need to add. This. I'm just gotta move this over here, I think. But this needs to say... Wait, why was that plus... I understand. I understand. Let's apply that over here, too. Sounds like fire. Yeah, that'd be fun. I think that was a good one. Okay, so that's 1. That's probably it. I think we get like 1 animated emote and 1 static. I don't know what the static should be. Usually the static is just the animated one, but not moving, but I don't think that would be very good here. Maybe it would. Maybe it would. If I timed it right, it'd be fun. Yeah, I could just play the farmer falling over animation. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Hey, Smith in a second. You only half the GIF combo, something about making them. Let you know if you'd like help with that. Oh yeah, so I'm thinking of, I have a screenshot capture little script in the engine, and it just captures like pixel perfect screenshots for me. So it's not like me like taking a Windows screenshot, which is at like a different resolution than the underlying viewport. It's like raw pixel perfect screenshot. I was just talking about getting something like that for a GIF, where I could record that like in motion or something, like modify it for like a certain frame rate, like define the frame rate or whatever. But yeah, we might need to take the Photoshop approach too. We'll see. Hey, Obsidian, welcome in. How's it going? I liked seeing your project yesterday. That was cool. Solve all the problems and put out a full Steam release yet? Oh yeah, you just missed it. I just hit publish on the Steam release. Yeah, it looked good. How was the rest of your stream? Feel like you got done what needed to get done? I keep changing my mind about how I like formatting these blocks. What was I doing? I was fixing this one. So we're taking this, moving this up here, getting rid of this, seeing if that improves the overlay situation here. You got stuff. You got done stuff. You're horrible as a dev. You just kind of do what pops into your mind. That is literally my approach. That is literally my approach. I think that's a valid approach, especially if you're not under a deadline. If you're just freeform working on stuff with no real deadline, I think you just look at the game, see what the most obviously wrong thing is, and then just start working on that. And if you keep doing that enough times, eventually I think you'll have a pretty decent game. I mean, it can lead to some crazy diversions. Like, we've had to rewrite our whole auto tiler thing just so I could add a block validator, which we haven't even worked on yet. Like, we're working on something that's totally unrelated. Oh, okay, here we go. I see why that other piece was involved there. Ooh, that's not good. There's something weird happening there. Oh, okay. I think I understand the exception and why it exists. Also, what happens now if I do more than one layer? Try to select it. Okay, it still doesn't do what I want. That works, but this doesn't look right, and that's fine. I think I know what to do to change that. But first things first. This might be as simple as just uncommenting this conditional that I didn't understand at the time. You have difficulty creating a GDD? I've never made a GDD. I am very anti game design document. But I'm also solo dev. Yeah, I think a game design document is good for a couple of things. I think the best thing it is for is when you are communicating and getting buy-in from a team. Because like having your team moving in the same direction is like pretty crucial. But if you're a solo dev, you're not communicating with anyone. So I feel like the GDD can be more constrictive than helpful because so much of game design is like trying something and then listening to the game. Because the game, you'll try something and then the game will tell you whether it's working or not, or whether the game wants to go in a different direction. Like, it's way, in my mind, game development is way too iterative for any kind of quote unquote waterfall development where like you define everything in advance and go through it. I think that's fine if you have a team or if you've already made something very similar and you're like trying to map out some kind of production plan because you're like, I've already made a game like this. I need to make another game like this in 6 months or something like that. I think that's very different. But I think if you're participating in like exploratory design, I think something like that can maybe even hurt you more than help you because it locks things in that should probably remain fluid. All right, let's see if this helped. Yeah, okay. Sweet. All right, so these little lines here, I see. I added these and I need to remove them now. How do I do that? Obsidian, you think more broadly. You're not great at taking notes. When you dev, you think of cool idea A, B, and C, but you forget to write it down. Weeks later, you remember, and now your code won't support one or all those features. I guess for planning purposes, that could be helpful, but I don't make system diagrams either. That sounds more like a system diagram. You must say you really like the map system. Is it Dwarf Fortress-like in that it has one full layer and a floor layer per level? Yeah, it has. That's kind of how it works. It has a floor and I call it a deck and a bulk, which basically means like floor and a wall. But obviously, you know, one man's ceiling is another man's floor. So this on this layer technically has a wall above it, but this I would consider the top deck. And then we can go down from the top deck however many layers. And then, yeah, each layer consists of that floor piece and then whatever wall piece that may or may not occupy it. Ooh, that's weird. Oh, no, that's correct. And if we partition stuff, you can kind of see. Oh, hey. This is curious. Oh, okay. That's just a trick. Okay, that's a trick of the light. I was like, are we glowing up the floor? We're not. We're just drawing outlines. These unnecessary outlines. Okay. Easy enough. Why does that behave so differently sometimes? Yeah, there's also this kind of terraced effect that kicks in to peel away what would otherwise be a solid block. All right, so we need to get these erroneous white lines out of here. I understand what's causing that. It's exactly this section. It's this extra rule that I added to... Oh, maybe what we need is this actually needs to be up here. Let's see about... Where would I put this, though? You may steal this for your next project. Good luck. We've been working on it a while. But yeah, in principle, it's pretty good. Rhiannon Journey, you think you technically have a GDD? It's like 5 paragraphs, one listing all the genres you're mashing up, and then one outlining what you're taking from each one. You don't think you've ever referenced it after you made it? I think that's fine. There's a bit more like it has your target audience and everything, but you left a lot of those blank because you weren't at that stage yet to care. Or they were just very obvious. Your audience is cozy gamers. Apparently mine is too. That seems to be what's happening to me. All right, so what we need to do... We need to add this carve out. Okay, I think we need to add this. This is going to be invisible, but I think this is important. I think we want this behavior, this. And I think this section needs to actually get moved up. I just don't know where to put it. Because it says mask contains So if the mass contains our neighbor, a neighbor tile below us, or a neighbor tile next to us here, or it doesn't contain floor plate that's next to us. It doesn't contain a floor plate adjacent to us. We want to get rid of it. Well, we just need a quick mass containment check. Actually, I wonder who is drawing this thing. We're going to comment this out again because I still don't understand how to implement that. Hold on a second. Positive edge is up above us. Negative edge is below us. I'm getting turned around a little bit. I think it's this. Actually, I think it goes back to just being this, doesn't it? Is this not correct? I know I literally just moved this, but I'm pretty sure it should be like this. This is probably worse than whatever we had before, but I'm trying to understand the dynamic here. Okay, now we're back to that problem. Oh, but we don't have this problem. Okay. I need to find another solution then. Because the way we resolved this caused a problem. So we don't need this. In this situation, we do. Oh, we need that as well. Okay, 1 is below, 2 is above. So 1 is below. Two is above. I think the above is working. All right, what does this need to be? As below, so above, yeah. And as it is such, so also as such is it unto you. All right, so when we're looking below us, calling this negative y is deeply misleading, but I guess it's technically correct. So we want to get this line drawn only under very specific circumstances. So there needs to be a tile adjacent to us. That's one condition, which is this here. So this is a condition that we want. Could it be this simple? Let's try applying this rule up here. I don't think it belongs up here, but we're just trying stuff out. What is this? The X layer? Okay. Technically correct. The best kind of correct. Exactly. Okay, it doesn't help with that, but does it help with, like, this situation? Nope, it helps with nothing. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, that does literally nothing. So if we're contained here, like if we're part of the mask and there's a floor piece below us, we don't want to draw this. Okay, so let's say that. Let's add that. We know that's true. So we'll say if we're contained in the mask, let's get rid of this part. So if we're contained in the mask and not halls dot contains key, hull key with w equals int tile dot layers dot deck x. Get rid of this again. I don't know what that's doing, so we're not going to use it. Let's try that. That should at least fix that one case. We can take this case by case. I said it should fix that one case. It does. It currently is not. Okay, why is that not doing anything? You start asking cutaway questions. Well, hold on a second. If we just get rid of this and we rely only on this section, this part should be defending us against this. Just the not has edge negative y should be literally all we need for this part. Why isn't that behaving the way it's supposed to? Yeah, it's weird. Because right now it's using the same behavior as this. So it should have the same outline as this, but it doesn't. That's curious. I don't think the floor piece is overwriting it. This should have priority. This thing. Oh. Huh. What if here... Okay, here's the sanity check. This is how you do a sanity check. We're just going to always wipe out this outline. That will let us know if something else is overwriting it later. Somewhere else. We'll just never draw this outline. And it's still there. Okay, so the problem is not here. Problem is somewhere else. Who could be doing that? Okay, well that explains why what we've been trying hasn't worked at all. This is actually this line here, this line in the middle is coming from somewhere else. That is curious. And in terms of priority, who could be overwriting this? I think I know where this is coming from. It's coming from up here. It's because I'm not dealing with opaque. Well, I am dealing with opaque layers, but there isn't anything. If I omit the overlay or the outline, there's no underlying texture to like fill it in with solid color. So someone else's outline is overwriting it. It could be this one. It could be the Z layer. I think it's this layer though. So what if we do the same thing here? It would actually be here, wouldn't it? This is wrong. This is super wrong. feels super wrong. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm looking at the tile set. I'm not looking at the auto tiler map. The auto tiler has a different mapping. Man, that is such a dumb mistake. Where's the auto tiler mapping? The auto tiler mapping is this. It's the opposite. Oh my god, I've been looking at the wrong diagram. The tile system has a different map than the auto tiler. I don't know. There's a hard way. It's hard to describe this exactly correctly. This is the texture that actually goes into the GPU, right, and gets drawn. And it's all laid out like this pattern. It's laid out in this pattern. It's a different pattern. It's a very compact pattern. It's a different pattern than this pattern, which is the way the auto tiler thinks about things. It's actually flipped.
He's dead, Jim.
Man, I was like confused. I was like, why are we calling this negative y when it's clearly this, which is positive y, which is down? And it's because in here, in the auto tiler, it is negative y. All right, so I was flipping everything in my head. That explains why we're getting
Your
bad
logic
behavior.
was impeccable, Captain.
Disagree. My logic was easily pecked. Practically had its eyes pecked out. Or its liver. That's what you earned too. Alright,
Most
alright.
illogical.
There we go, thanks. That's correct. Alright, okay, okay. So this is the area above. So this is correct. This is correct here. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. And then so this one is also correct. And so down here, so actually I think it was the area we were working on that was causing the problem. So I was thinking of it backwards. So let's try to do this correctly. So this... I think we can put this in. I can say minus. And this one is actually like this. Okay, we'll flip that around, see what that does for us. Test it on one side only, just to have a point of comparison. Okay. So it's kind of right. It's getting more correct. What if I do this? Is this... Okay, that won't work because it's doesn't matter. Okay, we're trading one problem for another, but I can live with that. Why is it fixing this side? Thought I changed the other side. Am I on the wrong? Yeah, I am. Okay. All right. Moving forward. Moving ahead here. Flip these like this. that. Advancing to a different class of problem. Hey, A6, how's it going? Happy Thursday. How are you doing today? Random Journey, you need an audio where it's Bones saying you're a doctor, not a... Okay, yeah, that'd be pretty good. There's surprisingly few audio clips that I've found of Bones saying stuff like that. I would get the one where he's like, I'm a doctor, not an engineer, or something like that. That's probably the one I'd want. Okay, all right. More correct, but now we have these erroneous bits here, but that's okay. We still haven't been able to fix this, but I know where that problem is, so I'm not that concerned about that. Okay, we want to keep the ones here. We want to get rid of these ones, though. Actually, I wonder who is contributing to that. Maybe we found why we have this. Maybe we found the use of this carve out here. Let's try it. Past Dave set up this carve out, and I probably knew what I was doing. Arneo, debugging is weird. You're using the way code executes as input to figure out what's wrong, but that input is affected by what you changed and how you assumed the change to execute. It can all be wrong from the start. Yeah. Yeah, debugging is just a process of challenging your assumptions. That's fundamentally what it is. Because one of your assumptions is wrong. Assuming the code is doing what you told it to do. But even that is an assumption, right? So that's one of the first assumptions you challenge. It's like, is what I wrote actually doing what, you know, it technically should? And then it's like, did I write the thing that I should have written to achieve the behavior I wanted? And it's like, you just keep going through all these assumptions. And it's tough because you might consider one assumption to be like valid or grounded. And it's like, nope. And that is why axioms or assumptions are fundamentally irrational. That's not exactly why, but you can get there eventually. You just have to accept that your assumptions are irrational and move on. Okay, that didn't do the thing. In fact, that made things worse. Okay. So that made things a bit worse. So this isn't valid for our situation. This not contains key thing. And mask contains this. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for the hydrate, A. How's it going? 80 amp. This is wrong. And the reason it's wrong for one thing, I don't think we want to check this part. Okay, so this, we're going back to saying that this behavior doesn't actually do what we want. And we'll find an alternative here. You're in North Carolina. Cool. Is that where you are normally? Or or is this a unique circumstance? All right, so the case we don't want to render it, obviously we don't want to render it if we're not contained within it. That's an obvious reason not to do it. Sapphire, you have a lot to juggle there. Not sure you can keep it all straight. Never-ending edge cases all the way. Yeah, it's tough. You just look for weird behavior and you try to figure out where the weird behavior is coming from, and then you add another rule that captures that behavior. It's really tedious. It's incredibly brittle. But once it works, it just works. So a lot of upfront costs getting an auto tiler working correctly. It's one of those few situations where you have to like presuppose everything. Or you do what I'm doing and you just mess around until you luck your way into the correct setup. Kind of an exhaustive search. All right, so what we want to do, we're trying to get rid of this outline that is erroneous. We want to ask, so if we don't need the edge here, is it an or? Double check this real quick here. The problem is we might be getting burned by not has position or edge position Y, because that works differently for an opaque tile than it does for our outline tile. Like that works differently for an underlying texture than it does for our outline overlay thing. And I think we might be getting a false positive for that. Yeah. So interesting. We are getting different behavior. So we're missing this outline here on the lower part. Just curious. So we actually do want the outline if there is a tile here. Okay. So yeah, this is coming back into play, this not halls contains thing. This actually is relevant. So actually, I think we want it to be this. If the mask, if we're contained in the mask, or I guess if that part is contained in the mask. If that part's not contained in the mask, we also want to do it. So it's like, it's going to be this. If mask contains, so if we're contained in the mask, or our neighboring tile is contained in the mask, we want to render it. If, additionally, there's a missing not halls contains key. So if either of these, oh, I'm getting it wrong again. I'm describing the case when we want to draw the outline, when I need to describe the case when we don't want to. So it's if we're not contained and our neighbor is not contained and there isn't a tile here. Okay, I think this might work. This might work. Let's give it a try. Okay, that part works correctly, but not here. So it's back to rendering this thing again. But I think I can work with that. Okay, this is weird. That shouldn't be happening. This is correct, what's going on here. But at the edges, it's being a little weird. So it's doing this. Why? Why is it doing this? It's because that's being told to be false, probably. It's like, what if we got this part? What if we got rid of this part? I'm gonna do something really weird to test this real quick because I don't want to have to rewrite the whole thing. Okay, that didn't do anything for us. Okay, so something else is being false. It's not there. So if we're not there and not there... Oh, and that shouldn't be a negative. That should be a positive. Should it? Should it? Not mass contains and not mass contains. Well, that's obvious. If neither of these are true, then we shouldn't do it either way. So maybe this is an OR. I think this is an OR. I think it's probably at the bottom. And then maybe this is actually this line here might actually be higher up. Let's see if we resolve some of the cases this way. Okay, we got rid of some of the ghost here. There we go. And now we need to handle like this line here. And I guess this line as well. Maybe it's like this. Maybe it's like this. Oh, I noticed Pretzel Rocks isn't posting the music tracks. It stopped doing that at one point, and it hasn't ever started doing that again. Okay, we're getting there. Ooh, I think we might have done it. I think we found the combination of behaviors. That gets us what we want there. Yep. Nailed it. All right, let's just copy that to the other side. We figured it out. Go up here. Transcribe that to this side. This side right here. And then flip the axis. I think that's almost it. Oh, wait. What did I do? I did something weird. I overwrote the wrong section. I want to overwrite this section. I think. He said very confidently. Pretzel Rocks. Sounds like a terrible type of food. I don't know. It sounds okay. I picture like little boulders made out of pretzels. It sounds kind of good. Like I've never been deeply attached to, the standard pretzel shape. I'm not a pretzel traditionalist. This looks like it's pretty close to what I want here. Sounds better than what you imagined. Rocks in the shape of pretzels. That sounds way worse. Yeah. All right, cool. I think the bulk is rendering mostly correctly. There's some floor plate highlighting that's clearly wrong still. But we fixed the main issue that we were noticing with the walls. We're getting there. We're getting there. There's probably some weird behavior with like half walls maybe still. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. It's getting to the point where there's enough behavior all stacked on top of here. It's like hard to understand, but a lot of it just kind of works most of the time. It's a pretty robust system. But yeah, I want to get rid of these extraneous outlines. I want the overlays to talk to each other. At least these two overlays. Not quite sure how to do that, how to achieve that, but I want to do it. Maybe they can share a tile map layer. Maybe not, though. All right, let's deal with these floating outlines along the walls, and also the missing outline here. These are all, I think these are all deck plate outlines that are missing. Or in this case, it's ones that we just shouldn't see. So this is a cutaway thing. So we shouldn't render this. Well, for one thing, we shouldn't render it if we're both not cutaway. Or if we're not... Yeah, it's a cutaway thing. It's a cutaway thing. Or if there's nothing there. I guess it's either a cutaway thing or a missing hull piece. All right, let's look at that. Oh yeah, this is like very rudimentary. Oh, that's the wrong layer. I was like, wait a second. Here we go. Hey, Captain Enosa, how's it going? Welcome in. Sapphire, hopefully all this will work all right once you start using more than gray boxes and you won't have to do a ton more debugging. I mean, this would be much harder to debug if we had like textures and stuff. It's really quite simple when you're gray boxing it. I like that Captain Enosa calls you the. That's pretty good. I guess that is your first name here on Twitch. Nix, you can already see it. Working on the tile editor in Godot, episode 512. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. It'd be nice to wrap this up by like episode 300, but that seems probably unlikely. I'd like to wrap it up around the end of the year. Which, assuming I do on average 20 episodes a month, that's around episode 300. I'd like to wrap up the tile editor around then. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to do it. Let's hope I do it by episode 314. Our first Pi episode. That'd be pretty nice. Arneo, sound the hallelujahs. You fixed a bug in point defense cannon targeting. You've been lurking here avoiding work, and it just occurred to you you've been fixing a bug that never existed. So did you fix the bug, or did it never exist? Or is it like the assumptions thing we were talking about earlier, where you thought there was a bug somewhere, and it was some other thing? Hey, Nanigans, how's it going? Happy Thursday. The third pi episode or the fourth? No. Well, I wouldn't consider episode 3 or episode 31 pi episodes. I guess you could. I would consider episode 314 the first pi episode. And then the second pi episode would be 3141, which I hope we don't reach. If we're still working on this game by that next digit of pi, I will be upset. Or I'll be very happy. It'll be one or the other. Either I'm still working on it and I haven't released it, or it's been so successful that I'm just locked in to making DLCs for it for the rest of my career. Arneo, you thought there was something wrong when the PDCs wouldn't stop firing when you change modes, but they were supposed to be firing because of the target type you had. You guess you didn't exactly fix anything. You stopped fixing something that didn't need fixing. That's the ticket. Think we'll get to Tau? 628? Oh yeah, easy. I would like to have this game done by probably like episode 2000 or something like that. Probably, ideally. Ideally, I would like to be done by episode 2000. We're on our way. Episode 1000, I think, is a little too aggressive. I don't think it's likely. Maybe we can hit our MVP by episode 1000. But I would like to be gold. I would like to have a gold release of this game by episode 2000. I feel like that's reasonable. That's only like 6 or 7 years, depending. 10% done doesn't sound that bad. It actually does, because I don't think I'm 10% done. I don't think I'm 10% done at all. So yeah, episode 2000 is maybe aggressive. Maybe episode 2048. Maybe that'll be our big. Maybe that next that power of 2 episode will be big for us. We'll see. All right, what am I fixing? I'm trying to fix the X plus 2 and the X plus Ys. So we have this mass contains. So if not, so this branch is causing us a problem. If not mass contains and mass contains. So this branch we want to get rid of, I think. For this specifically. I think we get rid of this. I think that will fix the behavior. Let's give it a try before we delete both sides. But how's it going, everyone? How's it going, Captain? Okay, I think that fixed it. Let's see if that caused any erroneous behavior, though. Ooh. Okay, it doesn't totally fix it. Oh, that didn't actually... That fixed one very particular case. Huh. Which one did I check? I changed X plus 2. Which one is that? Oh, that didn't do anything. That wasn't even the area I thought I changed. I'll change the other side too. So if our mask contains us, if the mask doesn't contain us, we shouldn't do it at all. Oh. This is, I get it. I think I got it. I think it's that. So this is what, x plus 2? So that should affect the bottom right edge. All right, let's test that. Rhiannon Journey, episode 1999. Dave is still stuck working on the editor. Takes streaming break for 19 years, and then comes back with episode 2000, announcing the game is done. Yeah. The first 90% of the work takes 10% of the time. Oh, yeah, we got to think about that. That's true. Hey, Stomporius, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great day. No, Rhiannon Journey, you're almost right. In episode 1999, I'm going to get stuck in a time machine and wake up in the year 3000. Or 2999 or whatever. I'm ready to be the Philip J. Fry. The Philip J. Fry of streaming. Okay, it looks like that fixed it. Well, it fixed the one side we were testing. So we should be able to extrapolate that rule to the other sides and it will work. We just get rid of a couple of these things here. Rhiannon, you're going to try to convince your boss that the episode or that the bug you're working on never existed. I think that's worth trying. Short of that, you could try convincing them that it's a feature, not a bug. That should work. Digi, you're not doing too bad. You're tired. A bunch of work you're trying to wrap up and then getting things ready for the kids for Halloween tomorrow. Oh yeah, it's Halloween tomorrow. My neighborhood goes crazy on Halloween. There's like a metal band that like plays out in front of their garage. Like, my neighborhood is like one of those neighborhoods in the city where people come from like all over to do their trick-or-treating. It is crazy. I don't ever really do anything, but I like going out there around sundown and seeing all the costumes and all the crazy shit people are doing. It's fun. I gotta remember to do that tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great Halloween tomorrow. We're also finishing up our obligatory annual rewatch of Over the Garden Wall. We're doing really good. We're going to time it up perfectly. We're going to watch the last 2 episodes on Halloween, which is exactly how you want to do it. So I'm very pleased. All right, let's see if this works. I think this works. All right, and we're heading into another ad break. Don't forget to redeem those Prime subs. Free Bezos bucks. Yeah, I really want to merge the outlines between the hover and the select. I really want these outlines to merge together. I still want the like if I do like this, I still want the texture to overlap as long as I'm doing it, but I don't want the outlines to I don't know. That's such a minor thing though. I probably shouldn't worry about it right now, but I will. Because again, we're detail oriented. I'm gonna agree with Tim Rogers that you should strive to be a detail-oriented person. Rhiannon Journey, your neighborhood's quiet. You'll watch something horror related. You'll probably wear your witch hat all day. Nice, nice. No dog Halloween costumes. Ooh, I see a missing one. I see a missing outline here. This one right here. Oh wait, now it's there. Oh no, now it's gone. Yeah. Okay, I see it. I see where the problem is. I went a little ham on this. So we have to take a step back before we can take a step forward here. Oh, this is the wrong side. Man. I'm dumb. All right. Oh, no. Okay. My edit history has become completely useless. I made too many edits. Is this right? Sapphire, have you thought about ever making this system available for others? It may be extremely niche, but it may just save even one person all this headache. No, they haven't earned that. Anyone wants to do what I'm doing, they gotta earn it. You like how it's coming along, Diginandians? Yeah, I think the outline's coming along. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding about making people earn it. This tool is very specific. It will not work for anyone else's use case except mine. I've said before, I would like to improve the terrain system, the built-in Godot terrain system for isometric, because I don't think it works very well for isometric, at least when I tried to use it. It might have gotten better all of a sudden without me being involved at all, right? But like, I don't have time to be a Godot contributor. Maybe once all of this is done, I can go back and like try to improve the engine with the stuff that I've learned, but like I would need help. Like I would not be able to directly modify Godot engine code because I don't know how to use C++. So unless the terrain editing code is written in GDScript, I couldn't do it. I couldn't touch it. How dare I gatekeep isometric FTL creation? Hey, if you're good at something, as the Joker once said, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. Technically, as the Joker's mother said, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. Imagine you get the system done and the next day Godot releases something that would have made the whole thing extremely easy. They won't. But yeah, that would be funny. They've talked about this before. There's a big difference between developing a change to the engine versus like developing a plugin. Like I could maybe make a plugin that accomplishes some of the things I do here for people, but the actual engine only gets changed if the use case is wide enough that it warrants it. Like there's a lot of debate about what should be included in the actual Godot engine versus what should be the, you know, the purview of a plugin. And I feel like an isometric terrain editing system would probably be plugin territory. But yeah, someday I would like to pay the engine back for all the things it's helped me with, all the ways it's enabled my work. But that is not this day. Also, Godot needs to stop giving me, like, single space indentation. And it's not Godot's fault, it's Writer's fault. Writer needs to stop messing around. All right, so we can do this, we can say this, and we can say not mask dot contains all key dot xyz minus vector 3i dot x vector 3i dot x. Auto Tyler was like, or the autocomplete was like ready to help me, and then I just like potato fingered it. Just potatoed the keyboard. I have these giant potato fingers that I cannot use on my keyboard. I'm just like, let me hit this one key, and it's like, oh, do you want to hit 3 keys simultaneously? LS, your 2 space indentation. I actually don't hate that. I prefer big indentations, but like, I use whatever the language convention is. Like, when I'm doing JavaScript, the JavaScript variation that I use has like 1 space indentation, and I like don't hate it because there's like very little room horizontally, so it like saves on horizontal space. But having a tab indentation is nice because it kind of protects you from indenting too much. Like, it kind of catches you if you're like, how many indentations deep am I? 4? I can't actually see my code anymore. Maybe there's a problem here. Nanigans, even with plugins, there's a balance of what's useful to others. Yeah, exactly. My system makes so many assumptions about how you would want to handle things that it would not be useful to anyone else. Nanigans, you're tempted to release your Magical Voxel tile imported as an open source plugin, but how you currently have it is very opinionated about the specific tools and workflows I do. Yeah, exactly. And what, you want to support generic approaches? Not to mention even the simple fact it's in C#, which means most people wouldn't be able to use it. Yeah, exactly. That's also a problem. In the future, that'll hopefully be less of a problem, but right now, it's a problem. Rhiannon Journey, you feel like you have pretty normal fingers, but you know a guy who would always make fun of how you had evolved specifically for typing because you had pointy fingers. Yeah, no, it's nice to have a point, like a sharpened point for keyboards. My finger is wider than my key, which is like not what you want. Nix, you're procrastinating on your newest project that you started so you can procrastinate on your older project with the project that you started procrastinating on with. You sound like developer Ezra, who always has like 5 or 6 projects they're juggling at a time. All right. So we took a step backwards to take a step forward. Let's evaluate the step backward we just took. It's procrastination all the way down. It really is. Sorry, I think I just mashed my microphone. Yeah, I can't wait until C# just gets like compiled as like a GD extension kind of thing, and you don't need a special version of the engine anymore. Because then I might actually write some of my stuff as plugins just for myself, but then I could actually use some of this stuff in other contexts. Yeah, so this is wrong. However, this part is right. If I do like this. Yeah, okay, that's right now. Okay, so we fixed one thing, but we made one thing worse. So this is wrong. Oh, it's my favorite song. Okay, I think I understand. Hey, Obsidian. You must get her off. No worries. Yeah, take it easy. Nix, you tend to auto-abandon projects you procrastinate on too much. After like 10 separate rounds not wanting to do it, your brain just auto-erases the existence of it. Rhiannon, you have dead projects and hobbies galore. You used to try to fight it, but you just go with it now. Yeah, I don't do that. I have no projects. I have no side projects of any kind, really. I mean, I do my game jams, but luckily those are time limited, so I can they're just done when they're done. If you count post jam support, I guess I do procrastinate on that sometimes until I just eventually give up. But like, I'm very careful about starting projects. I do not start projects haphazardly because yeah, I hate that. I hate having a bunch of like little ideas, little half-started ideas and projects floating around. That drives me insane. Diginanigans, C# support looks like it's come a long way in the last couple of years. You look forward to the full GD extension implementation of it along with web builds. Yeah, I'm more excited about the GD extension thing so we can all be back on the same engine version. I'm way more excited about that than web builds. But that's because I don't write my game jams in C#. That's crazy to me. I mean, I guess it would be fun. I was definitely struggling with some like class inheritance stuff in the last jam that I could have just written with like interfaces in C#, and I would have probably had a better time. But in GDScript, I was kind of forced into doing like this class inheritance stuff. I could have done composition instead. I could have done node composition, but like I need to practice that more, doing that in the Godot context, because that's kind of the way I think, but I don't do that in Godot very often. I usually just lean into the fact that Godot wants to be more object-oriented, or the fact that Godot makes it easy to be object-oriented, and I kind of just do that. But I should do better. I should be better. And not. So if mascot contains, is it an and or an or, this last piece here? No, this is an or. This is or, not holes dot contains key. Almost. So close, autocomplete. You got so close to being correct. All right, let's test this on whatever side this is. Sapphire, you have multiple projects you would love to get back to. You really do plan on getting back to one specifically, a custom light up lightsaber from scratch, hardware, software, everything. That's crazy cool. I'm not a Renaissance man. I can't do hardware stuff. But that sounds awesome. Rhiannon, for you, it's the ADHD. You have to chase the dopamine, and if it's not there, you can't physically stay engaged. You have a limited amount of ability to push through the boring, and you have to save that for actual work. Oh, yeah, not me. I push through. We're on episode 265 of Digital Iliad. Godot through the eyes of an obsessive tools developer. Diginanigans. You have 130 personal projects. What? And 184 work projects. Probably about 80% of those personal projects are never finished projects and experiments, and about 20% of your work projects are dead as well. I'm a one project at a time kind of guy. I can do one thing. People are always like, don't you have like, how do you choose between your different game ideas? And I'm like, I have 2 game ideas. I'm working on this one. In 6 or 7 years, I think I'll work on the other one. Maybe 8. And then I'm done. That's it. Those are my game ideas. I have 2. I have 2 game ideas that I'm interested in. Not counting jams. I do like jams. Jams are maybe jams are the outlet that I have, where I can come up with something short and it's locally scoped, so I can deallocate it from my mind when it's over. Like when the game jam is done, all of that memory is freed and I'm not thinking about it anymore. Generally. I think what I'm hearing from y'all is that you have some memory management problems. You're leaving too much stuff in memory. All right. My 2 fixes accomplished nothing here. I think I put an and where it needed to be an or. I don't know if that's tenacity or Rhiannon Journey. Oh, it is an or. Huh. This should have worked. Oh. I know what I did. I didn't need to change the W. That was incorrect. I was so excited that autocomplete almost got it, but it actually, in fact, didn't get it at all. This is why you can't trust the AI. What the heck just happened? Oh, I tabbed into autocomplete. All right, it got it this time, now that I wrote it down once. Hey, back. Hey, Mr. Magoo, how's it going? Back to what you first came to. Yeah, it all comes back to the tile block editor. Oh, Arnia, you have exactly 2 ideas as well? Hell yeah. 2 idea crew. Nix, you used to have a terrible memory, so that might be true. I guess you can't, I presume you can't remember. You're like, I think I have a terrible memory, but I can't remember. Classic. Yeah, program your mind in C. Manually manage that memory. Diginanigans, is there any difference between the main Godot branch versus the C#? 4.5 like it releases both versions at the same time. I don't think there's any difference. I think it's just an issue with I think it's just it has something to do with mono and licensing and whatever, the way they handle the compilation or something of the module. Sapphire, that's not you. You can't imagine having only one thing to focus on. Yeah. I mean, for me, I do get demotivated when I'm like stuck on something, but I've gotten used to just working on it out of habit. Okay, I think this is right. Let's see. I think we did it. Quick check. Ooh. Okay, we broke something. We went too well. We did this too well. I forgot a condition of this. Which it only applies if... Oh, wait. Oh, maybe it's not an or. Mask contains us. Otherwise, if mask doesn't contain us... If mask doesn't contain us, do we ever want to render this? I think the answer is yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay, so it is a... And it's not. It needs to be... It needs to be that it is contained. Flip that. So flip that and flip this, and we should be in business here. Mr. Magoo, you're blessed to use a high-level language. You've been scraping by with no libs. Write your own C in assembly. That is crazy. I mean, it's awesome. Like the guy that made Roller Coaster Tycoon. Who is that? Roller Coaster Tycoon dev. They're like the OG, right? Who like wrote their whole game in like assembly. Chris Sawyer. If you ever want to hear about a programmer that's like the low-level goat, go look up Chris Sawyer. I would never do like deep low-level programming. I am not a real programmer. I just play one on TV. Ooh. Okay. What happened here? This is bad. Maybe this isn't an and. Maybe it is an or. Oh, I think there's a scope problem. I think there's a set of parentheses that are messing us up here. I think I see it. But maybe I also fixed it. Yeah, we're back to this. Okay. Yeah, the Roller Coaster Tycoon is a wild story. Lower levels tougher shenanigans until you inevitably write your own abstractions, in which case the majority of work you do will be equivalent to similar high-level inputs. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, unless you're on the FFmpeg team, maybe we don't need to be handwriting our stuff in assembly, you know? Certainly not for games. That said, abstractions do have a real cost. And part of the reason why, like, the web world is such an unmitigated disaster, not just the web, I'm sorry, I don't want to single out web developers. Part of the reason why modern software is such an unmitigated disaster is that kind of lack of caring for the detail and the manual stuff about it. Like the whole, like Casey, is it Casey? Not Casey. Someone else shared this with me. There's like who in the Discord shared, I think it was maybe LS. But somebody shared that thing about how like the Apple's calculator program leaks like 30 gigabytes of memory or something like that, and like that's okay, apparently. Stuff like that, like just how abstractions have kind of ruined the software stack. They've kind of poisoned the well, as it were, and it's not just abstractions fundamentally, it's like careless abstractions or whatever. It's like, I don't know. I'm not a real programmer, so I can't offer a real opinion about this stuff. Magoo, you just wrote heap.c and heap.h for malloc and free and MM8 OS. Is that your... Oh, Mr. Magoo, MM8 OS, that's your OS? That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. All right, so why doesn't this second conditional work? I think it's the... I think I have it scoped wrong. I think it's here. It's this and this or this, right? No. That's not right either, huh? I think it's this. Maybe this, we're gonna try this first, but I think I see where it should be. I think that what I'm about to try is wrong, but I want to eliminate it as a possibility. You're a web OS software firmware and stupid dev. Yeah. You wear all the hats. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, so we still have that, but we don't have anything bad happening, it looks like. We just don't have anything good happening. So I want to get rid of this outline when there isn't one of these here. So I think it's... oh no, is this what I just tried? So it's like if not mask contains and not mask contains. So if we're not contained and our neighbor is not contained, that's one case where we should get rid of it. But we're thinking about the other case, which is we're not contained, but our neighbor is contained. So this would fail, at which point we need this. So yeah, I think I was right when I suggested this here. So it's got to be here. I think it's supposed to be this. I think it's like this. This is getting crazy, but I think this will give us what we want. Arneo, one day all this will abstract into myth and legend, and programming languages will be magical scriptures whose arcane functions no one can divine. Mr. Magoo, you've just played Team Fortress 2 for 6 hours straight? That's crazy. You must be really good. Do you play Pyro? I have too much fun here. Shenanigans, you're always making the trade-off between flexibility versus gray hair. That's some important trade-off to consider. Ooh, I'll check out your things, Sapphire. I'm interested in your lightsaber prototype. Nyx, Pyro is based class. I played Medic. I'd always play Medic, but with the Blood Slaughter, which is the little gun that, like, shoots, like, syringes. I was like the Shadow Priest of Medic. It was so fun. Because that's the one that kills enemies and heals you. That was me. That was me in TF2. Shenanigans. Casey Muratori goes on about the bloat of software and abstractions a lot. So does John Blow. I mean, John Blow got so sick of it, he's all but made his own OS, right? Mr. Magoo, you just bought a new fit and strange weapons for your spy and medic. That's awesome. That's awesome. I haven't played TF2 since like the orange box days, which I consider still the greatest value in gaming of all time was the orange box. That was unparalleled. Those were the golden days. The golden age. All right, let's see what's happened to us here. Let's see what we got going on here. Dang it. Still haven't fixed this. Why can't I isolate this behavior? What the heck is causing this? All right, so it's happening because the next level next to us is contained, but we're not contained. But we're drawing it anyway. Even though there is no hull type adjacent here. Is there not a null here? Oh, dang it. Man. All right, I think I did it. I think I did it for real, for real. Yeah, auto-tiling rules are so crazy to set up. Got an 8 kill streak today. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, you got the Valve collection the beginning of the month? Could you put me in the credits command under emotional support? Nyx, thanks for the stretch and the hydrate. Shenanigans, there's a large trade-off of accessibility in program compared to stacks that encourage highly optimized development. Sometimes that difference ends up being the difference of whether a program even gets created in the first place. Yeah, and I don't think that's the problem in the context of any one program. The problem then comes into play when someone has, you know, prioritized flexibility and and accessibility, and then someone else builds a program on top of that, and then someone else builds a program on top of that, and everyone is just mindlessly abstracting. Yeah. Data-oriented design is important. There was a great interview with Casey by the JetBrains team, where Casey goes into that a lot. It's really good. About like the cumulative cost of like a lot of this stuff. Hey, Lacutus of Borg. How's it going? I got the hydrate. I don't think I did the stretch. Let me stretch. But again, I'm not a real programmer. So, you know, I can parrot what I've heard on the stand-up or in, you know, John Blow's streams or something, but I'm not a real programmer. I'm a game developer, which is a very different thing. I prioritize the game. I don't care about the code. I've written an entity component system in C#. That should tell you everything you need to know about me. But games are programs. True. Some people think of them as programs and other people think of them as games. I think of them as games. I prioritize the game. Hey, I think I finally did it. I finally found the arcane combination of auto-tiling rules that gives me the behavior I want. Hey. All right, we got like 20 minutes left. I think I can fix the one last thing that I know is wrong. Oh, no, this one went away again. Dang it, we took a step back.
Logic was impeccable, Captain.
We took one step back. All right, I gotta fix this, though. Okay. It's illegal. You aren't supposed to have gotten something fixed. Well, I fixed one thing and broke something else, so there's a missing line. You should be able to see it. Now I have to think about how I add that one line back without adding the other line back. That's weird because there is... Oh, it's the or. It's the or. I think if... Let's try. Let's flip that or to an and again, and let's see if that does anything for us. So not mass contain. So if the mass does contain... No, it can't be an and. Oh, maybe it is an and, though, because we're describing when we can get rid of it, not when we can't. I don't think this is right, but I'm going to try it. Because, again, I get to the point where I, like, can't think through what the consequence of this thing is going to be, so I just try it. I mean, I could think through, but it's easier to just type a couple lines of code and then watch the behavior. Let's see what happens here. 368.7 hours only on TF2. But you got the Valve collection last month or the beginning of the month. Please tell me you haven't played 368.7 hours of TF2 in the last 29 days. That's incredible. I would applaud you if so. I assume you already had TF2. Diginanigans. In the web dev world, there's a lot of popularity around large frameworks on the front end and complex automated systems on the back end. Both were built to solve problems of large team sizes or massive traffic demands. The majority of projects don't need a fraction of that. That's unfortunately a default for many people. Yeah. It's like trying to learn... Oh, man. All right. So I can have this, but I can't have both for some reason. Okay, so it's not this. I have to say some more controversial things because I'm not working on anything interesting. We gotta be engaging. You had TF2? Okay. That's cool. TF2 is an old game, but I love it. I love it. When did the orange box come out? I want to say 2005 or 2006. $2007, okay. A little later than I anticipated. Yeah, that was when I was really into TF2. Would have been 2007, like 2008 maybe. Yeah, I guess that was the end of 07, so yeah, I played that for quite a few years. I love TF2. I never got into like Overwatch or all these TF2 clones, you know, these Team Fortress clones. They never really interested me. I admit, I'm a poser. I'm not real hardcore. I'm not like a Half-Life deathmatch player. I never really messed around with that. Games are for children. There we go. Look at this. You got it. Tell that to Baseball Management Simulator. Baseball Manager Simulator 2023 or whatever. I played an F1 manager simulator game one time, and like my brain almost exploded. I was like the guy from Scanners. Nix, that's as much as a slow month for you with RimWorld. Jeez. All right, all right. Where's the problem here? So we're interested only in this branch. This branch is key. So this is and we're only interested in this case, which is we are not contained in the mask, but our neighbor is. And if we're not contained in the mask, but our neighbor is, I swear this should be an and, but it's giving me the wrong behavior when I do that. Maybe it's another scope problem. Because if we're not in the mask, and our neighbor is not in the mask, oh, that's weird. Maybe this is wrong. Oh, it's so, and our neighbor is not in the mask, or there's no hall here. I'm gonna look at it. It's one thing to stare at conditionals, it's another thing to stare at the actual visual representation of it. Neither of them are particularly helpful, but you know, figure it out. You like Gary's mod? A lot of data defeat source. Half-Life 2 deathmatch. Oh my god, Nix. Bubblegum banana pizza. Banana bubblegum pizza. It's wild. Alright, so when we do this, we correctly don't have the weird, erroneous outline here. Problem is we're also missing the outline here. So we don't want this case. We're correctly eliminating this case because we're considering one of these wall tiles. And we're looking at our neighbor upstream here, or downscreen, whatever you want to call it. Away, the neighbor away from us, from camera, whatever. If it's part of the mask, and there's like another wall here. So this is a better example. I put a little wall here. So if we do this, we want to outline, we want to draw an outline here, but we don't want to draw an outline for the rest of it. And so how do we achieve that? The obvious way to achieve that is to look at whether there's a wall tile here next to us. So we want to draw the outline if the mask contains our neighbor and there's a hull tile there. That's when we want to draw a mask. So consequently, we don't want to draw the line if either the mask is not, it doesn't contain our neighbor, or there is no. That's like literally what we wrote down, isn't it? So we don't want to draw it if there is no mask containing our neighbor, or if there is no hull there. That's already what we have, so why doesn't that work? So if there's nothing in our mask here, we're not contained, and our neighbor is not contained, but if the neighbor is contained, then we want to make sure there is no hull in this direction. It's very frustrating because this feels like the correct behavior, but what I'm getting is wrong. As far as I can tell, that's right. Ugh. Challenging assumptions. Like I said, that is the art of debugging. So we're looking from here. So this block is missing an outline. So we're looking from here. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, no, it works on that side too. We can do both sides just to make it super obvious. Okay, so we're missing two outlines, one here and one here. So this one is looking back. Let me make sure I got these in the right order. So x plus 1 is looking at your negative x neighbor. Yeah, that's correct. Y plus 1 is looking at your negative y neighbor. Also correct. That's what I've written here. Are the mask and hull key, etc. all correct? Very much so. Very much so. We're using that for everything. So everything would be wrong. You mean positive Y neighbor? No. The way it's like this. So how do I describe this? This is our axis. I don't actually have the axis drawn anywhere. The axis is, we're using diamond down. So towards the camera and the bottom right of the screen is positive Y. And towards the bottom left of the screen is positive. No, towards the bottom left of the screen is positive Y, and towards the bottom right of the screen is positive X. But I'm making it hard to describe because I'm also talking about, when I say +1 or +2 or whatever, I'm talking about this mapping. So I'm sure I talk about this in a way that makes it impossible to follow along, which is fair. All right. But Nix, you're like reading out meme program. You're like reading out meme gifs. Like you're the guy from like Darmok and Jalad. Shaka when Drake disapproved. Yeah, there are 3 lights, Liquidas. There are an uncountable number of lights. Digi, Nanigans, you prefer to program with the Schrodinger's box mentality. Just never run the program and the bugs will never exist. That's true, that's true. Yeah, there's an assumption I have here that's wrong. And that's the source of all of our problems. So here, we look back. We look back. We're not in the mask. Our negative neighbor is in the mask. So we've hit that. We've hit this branch. We've got this branch. We're not in the mask. Our negative neighbor is in the mask. So this is false. However... Oh, yeah. Wait, what the... How is this the result? We're not in the mask. Great. We are in the... They are in the mask. Our negative neighbor is in the mask. However, the hulls does contain... Oh. Yeah, again, it's this ore, right? This ore is causing us the problem, right? Because we only want to skip the outline if we're not in the mask and they're not in the mask, or if they are in the mask, then if there is no outlines here. I might be approaching this the other way. I might want to flip it and then fix the other condition. Or fix the other case instead of try to fix this case. Because I can fix this case, but it makes another case not work. And I thought this would be an easier case to fix, but it might be the other case is easier to fix. Or more intuitive to fix. All right, this is going to be the big crescendo, the big climax of the stream here is we're going to fix this case. So we are erroneously eliminating this outline because we are fulfilling the conditions. We are not in the mask. The other thing is in the mask, and the other thing actually has a hull here. It has the matching hull. So we can only get rid of the other thing if there isn't a matching hull. All right, we're going to change this condition. Because I think this case might be easier to fix. Yeah, hopefully, Rhiannon. Okay, so I fixed this case and broke the other case. So now we have the problem of this case. But I fixed this case. So let's see if this case is a little more intuitive to wrap our head around here. Because this case, we shouldn't be drawing these lines. So we're not contained, but they are contained. And you know, looks great. It's close, Digit, or it's close, Nyx. It's close. We're getting there. We don't want this, though. We don't want this, like, white line thing to show up here on the higher level. It gives them a little info, but it's not, I don't want it because I don't want the opposite case. It's a little misleading. They'll also almost never see this. This is a very weird outlier case. So I'd rather be consistent than provide a little bit of additional information and be confusing or be inconsistent. I think consistency is more important than completeness in this case, I guess would be my like fancy logician way of saying it. Yeah, I don't want this case because I don't want to do it. I especially don't want it like when we're in this kind of a situation, like a more standard situation. Like you'd never even see this, but it would still come up like here. Yeah, I don't want it here. I mean, I guess it might help in the half cutaway. What I'll probably do eventually is the selection will probably pierce through. What I'd rather do is have some kind of pierce through, like a dotted line or something that cuts through here so you can see your selection. Because I agree it would be nice to see how far you've selected in the foreground. I just don't want to do it this way. But I agree with you that it would be nice to do something. I just don't think this is the way I want to do it. Sapphire coming in with the edge case joke. These are all edge cases. We are only concerned with edge cases right now. All right, I do have to be done. I really want to figure this out. I said I would be done by 2. It's 1 minute to 2. What can I do? So we can get rid of it if we're not masked. Our neighbor is masked, but there is no... Here we go. Let's try this. Let's try to be a little more verbose about it. Let's say not this and... We might have to put this on ice and pick this up tomorrow. I'm actually at like a hard limit here in the next few minutes. That might be what we do. Yeah, give up for future Dave to solve. I think that's where we're at. That's fine. This is the last outlier that I'm able to find in this particular section. There is another auto tiling rule we need to fix, which is part of the reason we did this whole refactor in the first place, but I wanted to save that one. So, yeah, we're going to just give up. Sometimes it's okay to live to fight another day. I think that's what we're going to do here. Because, yeah, I'm at a hard limit. I'm at a hard stop here. As they say in the biz, the hard stop. You can't prompt inject me. That's not how that works. Yeah, thank you all for the stream. What am I saying? I guess you're as much a part of the stream as I am. Wall, auto-tiled, hot. Yeah, exactly. Lacutus got it. All right. Yeah, this is fun. We're doing this tomorrow, so come back tomorrow. Don't let Twitch take away your streak, your watch streaks. Come back tomorrow, same time. We'll pick this up. We'll slay the remaining bugs. And then we'll be done for the week. It'll be nice. All right. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.
Maximum warp.
Maximum warp. Bye.